Hi coloring friends! I welcome you to this new video. In this seasonal episode we are heading towards Halloween, and today I have a nice themed video for you. So just a little disclaimer before I get started. I will throw in some Halloween music and some sounds, so for everyone who is very sensitive to this kind of stuff, be aware that there will be some music. But I always adjust the volume so that the music and the sounds are not 5 times louder than my talking is. So that is a guarantee that I can give you. And yeah, I just love Halloween music and the spooky stuff and the decoration, as you can see. So that's why I always wanted to film some themed videos for this season. There was never time in the past, and this year I thought I have to do it. I guess this is the first one, and I hope there will be some more to come. So, and what we are going to do in today's video. I actually want to show you one method that I really actually love to use in those Amazon printed books, so on the thinner side of books, that is using alcohol marker base and going over with pencils. And today I'm using the Faber-Castell Polychromos Pencils for the shading. And for the marker base, I'm using the Ohuhu brand, as I usually do, because this is my favorite alcohol marker and actually the only bigger set that I own. And I want to demonstrate you a favorite method of mine, how to color pumpkins with the base and the pencils on top. I'm working in Witches Around. This is the new book by Yuziku. You can see here. And I plan to demonstrate it on this page here, which is also in the book. It's really beautiful. So let me show you. It's here. And but before we get started, basically, I just want to say a few words about the markers. So my preferred method is actually to work with I will show you a darker base. So I will go in with the Y10, this is Apricot, and this is kind of like a more darkish orangey tone. It's more on the dark side. You know, in the past I always thought that I have to use the lightest shade that I can find, so more or less pastel tone. But nowadays I find it so much more fun when you use a medium to dark color. This I would even classify a little bit on the dark side. Maybe medium would be better. So I will also try out later some other orange shades. I already have tried a yellow base. So this is the Y6 here. This is lemon yellow. And so the lemon yellow is much lighter than the apricot. And I want to just quickly show you the difference. I had tried it out in preparation for this video. I tried it out in the Moonlight Fantasy by Jana Prosririna. And yeah, it's basically here. So, and you can see with the marker base, you can achieve some different shades for your pumpkin. So that's actually quite nice. This one is the yellow base, and this was the dark orange base. And I have to say that this one was a lot more work because I had to build up all the darker shades and blend them into the lighter shades. While here, it was actually a little bit quicker. So this was a little bit easier, a little bit, quicker, fast and easier. Here you can see again, yellow shade and dark orange shade. This is how it looks. But it's obviously perfect if you want to create some variation in your pumpkins. Then you just take different marker bases. You can use the same pencils and you get some variation, and that's actually very nice. So, and I will start to demonstrate you the dark marker base. I might do a time lapse with the yellow marker base later on so that you can just see it. I think I will just quickly introduce the colors for you. So as a marker base, I'm going to use Y10, which is Apricot. And then for the pencils, as I said, I'm using the Polychromos Pencils today by Faber-Castell. And maybe you've seen my video how I base layer with alcohol markers and color over with pencil. In that video I said that you need a very opaque white, like a Prisma white or a Chinese white, but to be honest, the Polychromos white does the job and works just as fine. So I hadn't tried it at this point back then, but I have tried it now, and the Polychromos white is just perfect for this method as well. So then I quickly show you the colors. I have 6 colors here, but basically I mainly, I haven't sharpened them. You can see how I wore this down. This is one of the main colors I've used. I would say the main colors that I used are like those 3 and the white. But I also will add in some other shades, especially when you go in with a lighter shade, so that you can actually blend and layer to the darker shades. So I will introduce you the colors from light to dark. And as I said, the 2 darkest colors are the most important and 1 yellow. Okay, so I do have here cream. Then I also have cadmium yellow, dark cadmium yellow. This is orange glaze. I also like to use the orange glaze when I want to give some hints where the lighting should be, if there is, for example, candlelight or something in the scene. So then I have the light cadmium red, and I have the middle cadmium red. So you can see this is the page that I plan to work on. It is basically the same page as from this title page. And on the first step, I will go ahead and base layer one of those pumpkins here with this Y10. Maybe I also will use some other shades for the base layering. And I think for our pumpkin that we are working on, maybe we take this one because it's completely drawn in here. So I just put some pieces of paper behind because alcohol markers will definitely bleed through. And I really like to use alcohol markers as a base because I find it very relaxing to color with them. And you know, a good way is actually to just spread them kind of slowly, not too slow, because when they dry, when they dry, they can leave streaks when one area is already dried, and then you go over with some wet alcohol base. It's most likely that you will get some streaks. And so it's wise to not work too slow. And you know, but I think when you just move your marker quite slowly, like this, you can actually watch how the ink is spreading. In this book, it's actually quite nice. You can see that the lines are a little bit thicker, so it is a little bit easier to work with alcohol markers. While in some books, they have very small lines, so that it's a lot more difficult actually. So I also think that I will do some other bases here with other colors. I have here the yellow one, just to give some variation in my pumpkins. And when you block down or lay down your markers, they will always be a little bit darker compared to when they dry. So they will always dry a little bit lighter. And I like to use this brush tip here because when there is a very thin area, you can just barely touch the paper and then really go in with this little thin brush tip. and this way make sure that you don't bleed over the lines. And if you do bleed over the lines, then it's wise to have basically a colorless blender nearby, because with a colorless blender you usually can take away not completely but most of the color when you are quick enough. When it's fully dry, then it won't do a whole lot, but as long as you are quick enough, it should work basically. So I think I will just do one more base here. This, by the way, is the Y10 Chrome Orange. This is a lighter orange. I haven't tried the outcome with this base actually yet. I've only tried the yellow and this darker orange. So I'm very curious how it will look with this one here. So, and I am going to start with my white pencil. With a white pencil, I'm basically just determine where I want to have my highlight. And I definitely want to have the highlight in the middle section of one of this pumpkin part. You can do it either as a block, and you can see it very well, or you can even go a little bit in strokes, and this way create a little bit of texture already, you know, and you place, so with a white pencil you can just really place where your highlights are going. So this is actually a nice method. I like it so much because it kind of reminds me like, you know, when you're painting, with paints you usually don't have to go from light to dark, like I like to do it, but you can start with your middle color and then go lighter as well as darker. And that I think is really just really nice. So you see, here I placed all the highlights. And then I will go in with the darkest yellow. This is dark cadmium yellow. And with the yellow, I'm just blending in right next to the white, but I not color completely over because, you know, we do have the other lighter shades that we might use for it. I just want to blend the white a little bit in, also give a little bit of a yellowish undertone. I don't color the whole part here. I always leave some of this nice orange base at the side. You can also here go a little bit in with strokes already to create some texture, because that is actually quite nice. So with this yellow you can really give a very warm and nice color. And I just make sure to blend in all the white outlines and leave the middle section untouched, so that we do have a strong shadow. Where it gets smaller, you can basically also go a little bit over. So this was that step. It is very subtle, I think, for you to see. So then I will go in basically with the other yellow tones and now blend the middle section a little bit so that it doesn't look so like white, you know. So I will just lightly, with light pressure, color over the whole section. So that the contrast is not extremely bright. And then with the lighter yellow, I'm going basically really with strokes, do a little bit of a middle pressure here, And with this one, I really want to preserve some of the highlights. You also can go back in with a white later if we think that we lose our highlight too much. And I know the because of the light, it's a little bit reflective here, but it's very dark, so I don't know what I could do for you so that you can see it better. Yeah, I hope it's okay this way. So now actually I will go in with this second darkest color, which is the light cadmium red. And with the light cadmium red, I actually go right to the edge of this pumpkin and darken it up. Like so. You know, we also have the other orange, which we can use for blend it a little bit better. You can also, you know, go in here and give some, like, it's like texture a little bit already. And do some strokes. But you know, I wouldn't go completely through with the line. Just start it and leave it then there. And we will intensify those strokes a little bit, because we really need to have it a little bit textured so that it looks very nice. Like this. Now we'll do one step of blending with the orange glaze and just blend it in a little bit more to our highlight section. We also can, you know, intensify the texture a little bit by maybe even pulling it through here and there. Okay, so like that. And now we go in with our darkest color, and this is the middle cadmium red. And first I'm going to outline it here, and I'm using like a medium pressure, I would say. Medium to light pressure, it depends on you know, the harder you press, obviously you get more pigment, and when you want to layer or even blend, then it's better not to use the hardest of pressure. It's better to use like light pressure in circles and blend it a little bit like that. But in some areas where you want to get really dark, then you obviously have to press a little bit harder. And I wish I had a second camera for you. I think the light is really washing it out a little bit, but without the light, we'll try like that. Yeah, we will try this setting here. Maybe this is not so reflective. And then you basically, you know, you go in. Let me just quickly check something. You know, and then you give a little bit of, yeah, this texture and do some of those lines here. But you basically, some of them you can basically pull through completely, and others you just really yeah, indicate, like not go completely through, you know. So then trying to blend it in. Here on the side, it's always a little bit darker, I think, because it goes in while this comes forward. So this is going to be lighter. Then here it is rounded, so we do need a little bit of shading to the end of it again, a little bit. So, and then we do this with all the parts. So darkest shadow where it is connected, or let's say to the outlines. This is always the easiest way to shade when you do your shadows near to the outlines. Yeah, and so that is our pumpkin. So now it's only around or about blending. I will go in with my light Cadmium Red. Use this one very lightly to just really blend this in a little bit, so that it doesn't look too harsh, basically, you know. So especially here on the top and bottom part and next to the side. So right next to the darkest shade, basically, to just blend it out a bit so that the lines are not going to look too harsh. So light to middle pressure, you will just notice how good the pigment goes down. This is Amazon paper, so it doesn't have the best of twos. Doesn't take extremely many layers. So now I want to intensify my highlights actually again. So I take the white and will just, you know, really intensify it here, a little bit here in the middle section, so that it looks that it's coming more forward. Like so. And yeah, then I think I would just really blend this in again with the yellow a little bit. I think I will go in with my Cadmium Yellow here. And with this color we also make it just a little bit more orange. So I'm using more like a medium pressure here, I would say, to yeah, also change the colors here a little bit. And the reason why I'm using Polychromos today and not Prismacolors is basically because yeah, I read that some people are sick that everyone uses the Prismacolors on YouTube. in the videos and that they would love to see other pencils. And then, you know, I just, yeah, I read the comments, mostly on other channels, what the people would love to see. And one of the choices was Polychromos, and one of the other choices was basically, yeah, I think Black Widow was quite popular, maybe the Brute Funner, and Inktense. So, as Polychromos is one of my favorite pencils here, I decided that I will go with the Polychromos. So I basically forgot that we also have this trunk here that we need to color. And this one is actually finished. So the pumpkin is basically done. You could, if you like, add some highlights with Posca. I'm thinking if I want to do it or if I don't want to do it. Let me check, do I have a Posca somewhere? Don't I have white Poscas anymore? So you could add in some highlights with a acrylic paint pen and just really, not so much, maybe just a few dots here where it could be very light. And then another thing, if you want to have some lighting from above, you could also maybe do a highlight here. But I'm not so sure how much I do like it actually. So I'm not so sure about it myself. So something like that, you could do that. And then it's best to, yeah, blend it out a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. So now let's basically do this trunk here. I will need to look for some colors. So give me a minute. So let me quickly introduce the colors again that I have chosen for the trunk now. And for the marker base, I actually want to have Y7. This is dull yellow. And then for my colors, of course, I will go in with some white to whiten it up. Earth green yellowish. Then here, chromium green opaque. And chrome oxide green. Okay, so these are the colors. I'm just, yeah, doing the base layering with the alcohol marker first again. Okay. Yeah, and this is a dull yellow, basically. And yeah, let me know what type of seasonal coloring you are doing, if you prefer Halloween coloring or more the autumn coloring. So colorings for autumn, like scenic images or pages with pumpkins. I actually really love pumpkins. Maybe I could also do this tag. No, I don't think so. Okay. Yeah, I have to say this color is a very nice color for those stems here. I really like it. I have to clean my my brush here a little bit. Just a second. Always make sure that you clean your brush. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a little bit of yellow-orange color on it now. So I always have a scrap piece of paper nearby so that I can just clean off the tip of my pencil, and then I want to give the highlights here where it is coming forward. You can see here So I think that this part would just come a little bit forward to us, and then maybe here. So basically I usually do it here where it is rounded, that this is the highlight point. Maybe also here a little bit. Like so. I hope it's visible. And then I think I will go in with my earth green yellowish first. This is like the lightest color. I'm using just light pressure, doing one layer on top. Maybe we could also use our cream color here for the highlights a little bit. Just to blend in the white a little bit, you know. So I'm going in with my cream here as well, just on top, where we put the white pencil to blend the highlight in a little bit better. Yeah, because we don't want to have the highlight white. It's just to lighten up and place the highlight, so that's good. Now I would go in with my Chromium green opaque here, and I will definitely have a shadow here on this side. And where it is connecting to the pumpkin, I want to have it the darkest basically. Also, I think I will just go next to the lines, you know. And here, this part definitely is in shadow because it is just going underneath here. And then here, where this little swirl comes down. And I actually really like to color with Polychromos on Amazon printed paper and use a marker base. That does work just really so nicely. I'm not even sure if I do need the darkest color. Maybe, because this is quite a small area actually, maybe the two colors are quite okay for it. Just blending it a little bit more here. But now that I have pulled it, I will also use the Chrome Oxide green here a little bit. And see what I can do with it. Just making some of the shadows even a little bit darker. It's a very nice color. Yeah, and I think that's it. I think I will make this highlight a little bit darker, tone it down a little bit. I think it was maybe a little bit too light. So, and that's basically it, I guess. I think it looks okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good enough. So, and that's basically how I will, or how I would color the stem. So, yeah, let's zoom out maybe a little bit. So, this is how it looks. You can see that even Polychromos shine quite a bit, at least the way I use them. Yeah, the oil also shines a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, this is how the pumpkin looks. This is my favorite way of coloring pumpkins, with a marker base, then shading over. You can use that. We can use the Polychromos white for lightening up. And yeah, and now let's have some fun. I think that I might color two more of those pumpkins and in a time lapse to give you some Halloween music. And yeah, then I will see you in a second again, hopefully, or not. So let's just see. On a cold night. On a cold night. Tonight. On a cold night. On a cold night. Tonight. So this is basically how those 3 pumpkins look now. So different marker bases, same pencils, and you can create some variation in your pumpkins. I think what really would look good if I would have a little bit of a greenish pumpkin, or green and orange, so a little bit of a mixture or so. That could look nice basically. Oh, there are so many more pumpkins in the background I see now. So I will have to color quite a few. But you know, there is a tag how many pumpkins, and I plan to attend in this tag, but after the season, or in the middle of the season, not after the season. It will be a fun video for October, I think. So, and this was all for today's video basically. I colored in those little pumpkins here, showed you a favorite way of mine how to do it. There's one thing that I noticed basically. So, yeah, the yellow base layer is really nice for some variation, I think, but when using the yellow base layer, then you should go in with your darkest shade a little bit more sparingly, just really in the corners maybe, so that this one really gets a little bit lighter. And also you must know that the paper is not taking a ton of layers, so yeah, just really a little bit sparingly, that should work just fine. And then I just hope that you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I cannot just come up with pumpkin videos, but if I find a nice way to do like a orangey greenish pumpkin, then I might come in with just a short video about that. And I also thought maybe it's nice to do some lit up pumpkins, like when they have those little faces and there is the light glowing out of them, doing them in a little night scene. Maybe that's something that we could do a video about. So yeah, I do have enough ideas. I just don't know if I have enough times. But if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I hope I will see you in my next video. So happy coloring to everyone, and bye!